Fighting Fear with Kevin. This is a video blog talking about anxiety, anxiety disorders, cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure response prevention. If you already subscribed to this channel, thanks so much for checking it out. And if you don't, please subscribe if you like what you see. It's been a couple of weeks, so I hope everybody's doing well. We have Christmas right around the corner, and you celebrate Christmas, but it's certainly the holiday season for everybody, which usually makes everybody a little bit more anxious. There's a lot of expectations this time of year, whether that's spending time with family or spending money or reflecting on your year, which we're all pretty good at in worrying that we haven't done enough or we're not good enough, and the end of the year seems to bring that up for a lot of people. What I want to talk about today is emotional reasoning, which is this cognitive process of thinking if I think something and therefore feel something, it must be true. Or if I feel sad, therefore there must be a reason that I should be sad. If I feel bad about myself, then there's probably evidence to support that. And that's not necessarily the case. We're often tricked by our emotions all the time. If you remember, just a basic diagram of cognitive behavioral therapy is thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and we have very little ability to directly change our emotions. We have a lot of ability to change our behaviors and some ability to shift our cognitions. So we're often tricked by a feeling that something bad is going on, and really we just can't control that. Most of us don't worry about that when we're having positive emotions. Most of us don't think, oh, I hope this lasts a long time, or I worry if this is going to end or stop. But when we're feeling bad, we try and shift it so much, paradoxically, that we usually get caught up in feeling worse. And so what we focus on here at Northwest Anxiety Institute is helping people shift their behavior and not getting stuck in this emotional reasoning trap. That is so relevant with people that struggle with anxiety disorders and fear, because if we feel scared, we believe that there's a reason that we should. If you remember, anxiety is the perception of threat or the anticipation of threat and not actual danger. But when we feel scared, we believe that there must be danger. Not to mention, we don't want to feel like idiots, and we have to trust our brains. And so, of course, we're going to believe this emotional response that our body is creating for us. And so an analogy that I usually give people to help them understand this is this idea that if there's danger, of course you're going to have this anxiety or this physiological reaction, this fight or flight reaction. If something bad is actually happening, you should respond with anxiety. But that is not a bidirectional relationship. That if you're scared, that certainly doesn't mean that something bad is happening. And so the analogy is, if you have a cow with 4 legs that says moo, you likely have 4 legs, or you should have 4 legs unless there's something terribly wrong with the cow. But just because you have 4 legs certainly doesn't mean that you have a cow. And so the trick that anxiety plays is it often gives you 4 legs and wants you to believe that there's a cow and there's actually not. And so what I want you guys to do is to think about the times where you're feeling scared or you're feeling depressed or you're feeling sad, and you really have to ask yourself, is there actually evidence to support that? Is there actual danger? And most of the time, if it's anxiety, there's not. Because if it's not anxiety, then there typically is actual danger. If you're in a car accident or something bad is happening, we don't describe that as feeling anxious. We actually describe that as fear or something else. And then if you're feeling sad, down, and depressed, is there evidence to support that? And many times there's not, but we do get distorted in the way that we think about things, particularly when we're feeling down. But I want you to think about that emotional processing. Just because I feel like a social situation didn't go well doesn't mean that it didn't go well. It's just not true. What's the evidence to support that? Just because I feel like my marriage isn't going well, doesn't mean that it's not. Or I feel like my wife is ignoring me, or I feel like this is happening with my child, or whatever it is. And so really looking at what the evidence is to support that, and then thinking how predictably these types of thoughts come up for you can be really, really helpful. So think about your emotional processing. It's been a while since I've been on here, so I'm curious if you guys can do a check-in about the things that you have been avoiding or the things that you're no longer avoiding. So what's helpful is to create a list of things that you typically do, even subtle safety behaviors, and start removing those. That's something that will help for the holiday season. I did a blog around Thanksgiving about family and setting expectations and boundaries. That'll be a really good one to check out for the next week or so when everybody's getting together with families. And so keep that in mind. I wish you all very, very happy holiday season. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for checking out my blog. I will be back on here probably next week. And again, if you have any questions or anything you would like me to specifically address on here, please email me, kevin@nwanxiety.com. Please subscribe and or check out our Facebook page. Thanks.